You already know what a chimpanzee looks like. You've seen them in documentaries, in zoos, maybe in a viral video where one does something that makes you laugh. You think you understand them. Expressive faces, playful personalities, our closest living relatives, sharing 98.7% of our DNA. That familiarity is exactly what makes them so dangerous. Because here is what most people are never told. Chimpanzees are not gentle cousins of humanity living peacefully in the forest. They are organized, strategic, politically sophisticated hunters that wage coordinated wars, execute rivals with premeditated deliberation, and have been observed doing things to human beings that forensic scientists struggle to describe in clinical language. The image you carry in your head of a chimpanzee, curious, almost childlike, is one of the most misleading impressions in all of nature, and we helped build that impression. We dressed them in clothes, put them in commercials, trained them to ride tricycles, and in doing so, accidentally convinced ourselves they were something they are fundamentally not. What they actually are is something evolution spent millions of years perfecting. And what evolution built when it built the chimpanzee was something that should command a level of fear we have almost entirely failed to give it. To understand the chimpanzee, you first have to understand where it lives and what living there demands. The tropical forests of Central and West Africa are not tranquil. They are resource-contested environments where food is seasonal, territory is finite, and survival is not guaranteed. Every community of chimpanzees, typically between 15 and 80 individuals, holds a defined range. That range contains the fruit trees, water sources, and hunting grounds that keep the group alive. Losing ground means losing access to food. Losing food means dying. In this environment, the chimpanzee did not evolve to be peaceful. It evolved to compete. And over millions of years of that competition, it developed a cognitive and physical toolkit that makes it one of the most formidable animals, pound for pound, that has ever walked the planet. Start with the body. A male chimpanzee stands roughly 1.2 meters tall and weighs between 40 and 60 kilograms. By human standards, that sounds modest. It is not. Studies attempting to quantify chimpanzee strength have consistently found that, in tasks requiring pulling force, chimpanzees outperform adult human males by a factor of between 2 and 5. A 2017 study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found this advantage comes not from larger muscles, but from a fundamental difference in muscle fiber composition. Chimpanzees have a far higher proportion of fast-twitch fibers, the type associated with explosive, maximal force output. A chimpanzee is not simply stronger than you. It is built for violence, in a way you are not. Every movement it makes engages muscle systems optimized for speed and power. Simultaneously, their hands are weapons. Their grip strength is extraordinary, capable of suspending their entire body weight from a single arm for extended periods. Capable of bending and tearing with a force that human anatomy simply does not produce. Their canine teeth are long, sharp, and used deliberately. They do not bite defensively the way a cornered dog might. They bite strategically, and they know exactly where to bite. Documented attacks on humans are among the most disturbing records in medical and legal history, but no case communicates what a chimpanzee actually is, in the clearest, most irreversible terms, better than what happened in Stamford, Connecticut, on February 16, 2009. Travis was a 90-kilogram chimpanzee who had lived as a domestic companion for 14 years. He slept in a bed. He ate at a table. He drank wine from a glass, used a computer, dressed himself, and could unlock doors throughout the house. His owner, Sandra Harold, described him not as a pet, but as a son. Neighbors knew him by name. He had appeared on television commercials. He was, by every measure of human projection, one of us. Then, in the span of approximately 12 minutes, he attacked Sandra's friend Charla Nash with a precision and ferocity that left first responders, trained emergency personnel.
911, where's your emergency?
This is Sandy. 231 Rock Crimmon Road.
What's the
Send
problem?
the police. Send the police.
Unable to adequately describe what they found when they arrived, Travis removed both of Charla Nash's hands. He destroyed her nose, her lips, and both of her eyelids. He tore out her eyes. He attacked her face so systematically that surgeons who later treated her would describe the injuries not as wounds, but as the near-complete removal of a human face. Nash survived. She required a full face transplant, one of only a handful ever performed in medical history. The 911 call Sandra Harold made while the attack was happening remains one of the most disturbing audio recordings ever to enter public record.
What's the problem there?
The chimp killed my friend.
Travis was not acting from confusion. He was not panicking. He was doing, with complete neurological competence, exactly what a chimpanzee does. This is the detail that never makes it into the headlines. The attacks are not random. They are not frenzied. Across every documented case, in research stations, in sanctuaries, in the villages of Uganda and Guinea, where chimpanzees and humans increasingly share contested land, the targeting is consistent. Face, hands, fingers, genitals, feet. These animals go for the same anatomical targets, in the same order, with the same deliberate focus. Surgeons who specialize in treating chimpanzee attack survivors note that the injuries don't look like animal bites. They look like something that knew what it was doing. That quality, the methodical, targeted, purposeful nature of the violence, does not come from instinct in any simple sense. It comes from intelligence, and it is the intelligence of the chimpanzee, far more than its teeth or its grip strength, that should rearrange something fundamental in how you think about this animal. Chimpanzees engage in something that, until Jane Goodall first documented it in the 1960s and 70s, scientists were confident no non-human animal did. They make and use tools, not in a simple reflexive sense. They select specific plant stems for termite fishing, trimming the leaves and testing the flexibility before insertion. They use stone anvils and hammer stones to crack hard-shelled nuts, carrying favored stones from site to site and teaching the technique to their young across multiple years. They have been observed crafting spears, sharpening branches with their teeth and using them to hunt smaller primates in hollow trees, a behavior that represents multi-step planning directed at killing prey. That cannot be seen. But the most alarming expression of chimpanzee intelligence is not tool use, it is warfare. In the 1970s, Goodall documented what became known as the Gombe Chimpanzee War. A single community in what is now Tanzania split into two factions. Over the following years, the northern group systematically hunted down and killed every member of the southern group, males, females, and infants. Not in open confrontation. In targeted raids, small parties of males would move silently to the edge of their territory, slip across the boundary, and locate isolated individuals. Then they would attack as a coordinated unit, holding the victim down while others delivered the killing blows, before retreating back to their own range. This was not animal aggression. This was organized, lethal violence with strategic intent, territorial objectives, and coordinated execution. Subsequent research confirmed that Gombe was not an anomaly. Long-term studies across multiple chimpanzee populations have documented what researchers now call coalitionary killing. Males conduct reconnaissance patrols at territorial borders, moving in silence, freezing and listening, turning back if they detect a large opposing group, pressing forward when they believe the numbers favor them. They are calculating odds, they are managing risk, they are making strategic decisions about when to commit to violence and when to withdraw. A 2014 study in the journal Nature, analyzing data from 18 chimpanzee communities over decades, found that the rate of lethal violence within and between chimpanzee groups was higher than in virtually any other mammal studied, including most human populations. The violence was not random. It was targeted, purposeful, and executed in ways that minimized risk to the attackers. Chimpanzees understand war. They did not learn this from us. We may, in some ancient evolutionary sense, have learned it from them. The social structure that drives this violence is equally unsettling. Chimpanzee communities are organized around dominance hierarchies, and the competition for rank is lifelong, intense, and occasionally lethal. The alpha male holds the highest position, but he does not hold it through brute strength alone. Studies of chimpanzee politics, documented in Frans de Waal's landmark research, reveal alliances, betrayals, strategic coalition building, and deliberate manipulation of social relationships that mirror human political behavior in structure, if not in complexity. An aspiring male will form alliances with lower-ranking males, supporting them in confrontations to build loyalty. He will groom rivals strategically, creating social debts. He will intimidate at carefully chosen moments and display submission at others. When the moment is right, when his coalition is strong enough and the current alpha is politically isolated, he makes his move. Males who fall from power do not retire peacefully. They are harassed, excluded, and sometimes killed by the new regime. Power in chimpanzee society is not symbolic. It is a matter of survival. And within this brutal political landscape, chimpanzees hold grudges. Studies have confirmed that they remember individual interactions across years, adjusting their behavior towards specific individuals based on past experiences. A chimpanzee that was wronged by another does not forget. Research has documented chimps waiting, hours or more, to retaliate against a specific individual who slighted them, behaving normally in the interim, before choosing a moment to act. This is premeditated revenge, in an animal that can tear a human hand apart in seconds. Perhaps the most disturbing documented behavior is what researchers call raiding on human settlements. As forests shrink under agricultural expansion, chimpanzee ranges increasingly overlap with human communities in Uganda, Cameroon, Guinea, and elsewhere. In these zones, encounters are rising. And what researchers have documented in these encounters is something that defies the image of the shy, retreating wild animal. In Uganda's Kibale region, chimpanzees have been documented entering villages, taking infants from within homes, and killing them. These are not opportunistic accidents. The chimps move deliberately through human spaces, assess the situation, and act with targeted intent. In one documented case, a chimpanzee entered a home through a window while a mother slept and removed an infant from beside her. Local communities in these zones do not view chimpanzees as gentle relatives. They view them as they rationally should, as powerful, unpredictable, intelligent animals that have demonstrated the willingness and capacity to kill humans. Across sub-Saharan Africa, chimpanzee habitat has declined by more than 90% in the last century. What remains is fragmented, contested, and shrinking. The animals being forced into contact with humans are not well-fed and socially stable. They are displaced, stressed, and in many cases nutritionally compromised. A chimpanzee under resource pressure is a chimpanzee with lowered inhibition and elevated desperation, the worst possible version of an already formidable animal, being pushed against a human world that has no plan for what to do when it arrives. There are approximately 170,000 to 300,000 chimpanzees remaining in the wild. The range of that estimate alone tells you how poorly we understand their current status. Populations are declining across their entire range, driven by deforestation, bushmeat hunting, and disease transmission, including diseases that move in both directions between humans and chimpanzees with disturbing ease, given how similar our biology is. The animal that conducts organized warfare, that makes weapons, that holds political grudges across years, that can dismantle a human face in under a minute. that has lived in African forests for millions of years, developing a society of terrifying sophistication that we are only beginning to understand. It is losing ground, and here is the hardest thing to hold in your mind, all at once. The chimpanzee is not evil. It is not malevolent. It is not even, by its own standards, cruel. It is exactly what 4 to 7 million years of evolution under brutal competitive pressure produces. Its violence is purposeful. Its intelligence is staggering. Its social complexity is a mirror, a dark, clarifying mirror, held up to some of the least comfortable parts of what we are. We share 98.7% of our DNA with this animal. The 1.3% that separates us is the part that builds cities, writes symphonies, and sends spacecraft to the edge of the solar system. But the other 98.7%, the part that calculates advantage, builds coalitions, retaliates with precision, and goes to war over territory, that part is not separate from us. It is sitting in a shrinking forest, watching the trees fall. And it remembers everything.